What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more J-drama score, and we're going back to another tune from the excellent Crisis soundtrack, or score. Crisis Special Security Squad, I mentioned it before. Just a really top show that combines political intrigue, a whole lot of like tense, like fast-paced, gripping action, like chase sequences and so on. But also, detective work and a sort of dark and ultimately dangerous kind of psychological atmosphere. It's a really cool show, and the soundtrack is equally excellent. I mentioned before, it's made by two different people, both Sawano Hiroyuki, and that's another tune we're going to listen to this time. We're going to listen to another tune from him this time, but we've also listened to at least one tune, I think, from Kota Yamamoto, or Yamamoto Kota, and yeah, that's the second half, or even like I would say the back 2/3 of the soundtrack. But the first several tracks are by Sawano Hiroyuki, who I've talked about before when talking about this soundtrack. This is where I first heard his music, but I've since learned that he's made score for all sorts of different entertainment, not only other shows, like other J-drama, like live action shows, but other anime, movies. He's just all over the place. So we're going to listen to a tune called Machine Motion Investigation Squad. Again, the name of the show overall is Special Security Squad. This is a show, again, where they're like pursuing like dangerous suspects, people who have like threatened to commit acts of terror, though again, as they go and they investigate these things, they end up learning that often the cases relate to malfeasance of people very high in government, and by the end of the show they realize in some cases people who they're actually working for, so they realize they're like sweeping up the top brass's mess, and they're also like vulnerable and deniable in the sense that they all have kind of checkered past, so if something were to go wrong, the top brass clearly would just be like, well, they were a rogue unit and we had nothing to do with what they did, and they would basically be burned. So yeah, as the show goes on, it gets increasingly dark. So Machine Motion Investigation Squad, I can't think of like a specific episode where that would be particularly relevant, but it clearly relates to the way in which they're being used, as to investigate the sort of highest level danger situations in the country, but they have no real control over what's happening to them. They're being used, kind of like a machine. So that would be, I said clearly, but that would be my best guess, is essentially what I mean to say, that it relates to sort of their status in the way that, like, they're doing things which maybe on some level are necessary, but which they know may relate to, like, burying corruption or, stopping information about corruption or malfeasance from coming out. So, yeah, that's what I would suspect. Again, the tunes from Sawano Hiroyuki are tunes that I remember more clearly, like, from the show, whereas I think I've reacted to maybe two from Yamamoto Kota, and those were, like, atmospheric and great, but as I listened, I was like, I'm trying to remember when this was in a scene. So this is from Sawano Hiroyuki. My guess is it'll be more like, oh, right, this is, they play this in this kind of scene in multiple episodes, and so on. So let's find out. This is Sawano Hiroyuki from the Crisis Special Security Squad soundtrack, and the tune is called Machine Motion Investigation Squad. Coming in with some attitude there. That beautiful violin, but everything else is like, you should be scared. It's like a gritty, like, tension. halting syncopation. Plucking of a violin. Another track in the soundtrack that uses that same theme, but like it's one of the ones I already reacted to for sure. Oh my god! Get out of here! What are you talking I got moving this pitch. What a tune, man. Composition of this is stupidly good. Wow. So again, I don't remember. I think 9A 14S or Fire 9D, both of which I've already reacted to. One of those tunes has one of the like that explosive kind of element that kept coming at the beginning of the measures, and then the other one has that theme that like I kept sort of like hearing in different iterations. Bottom line, the way that for his part of the soundtrack, Sawano Hiroyuki has like woven this theme into like different iterations and different tracks to make it both like, you know, distinct pieces, but there's a like motif that's kind of guiding his section of the soundtrack overall. It's just brilliant. So once again, shout out to Sawano Hiroyuki. Once more, if you haven't seen this show, you know, it's available on eBay. I would highly recommend it. It's, you know, I watch a lot of different kinds of J-drama, but if you're into like, again, thrillers, like political thrillers, you know, sort of detective shows with a bit of an edge, with some good action, and I really want to stress, like, I know some people aren't huge on action scenes, but this is really well done in that regard. So yeah, if you're into that kind of stuff, I would highly recommend checking out the show. I think you can get a DVD copy of the box set on eBay for like $30. It's really not that expensive. In any case, I'll stop pitching the show, but I will say, yeah, I think there's maybe one or two more tracks left from Sawano Hiroyuki's part of the soundtrack, and then everything that's left will be Yamamoto Kota's remaining tunes. So yeah, we'll go through the whole thing eventually, but it has to be said, Sawano Hiroyuki's composition on this soundtrack is just unbelievable, like all the tunes. So big ups to him. Do let me know what you think of the track. I'll see you next time. Peace.